So in the last video, I talked about the little things we can start doing and groups and how to put ourselves in a place where we can make the next step. One, does this go along with what all the greats say? Yes. It's not anything new. When I first got introduced to some of these people when I was a teenager, it somehow didn't seem new. Why? Because it's stuff my dad taught me, stuff my family taught me, stuff my brother showed me because he was on the internet back in the 80s. It is what to me seems like common sense for most part. Now, here's the trick. When something seems like common sense, sometimes we start to be jaded towards it, or we think, well, it won't work for me, or we think, I've tried it and it hasn't worked. Alright, so the general advice would be join the Facebook groups that are similar to what you want to do or offer, and help other people so that you start getting noticed. And then as long as it doesn't break the rules, which by the way, all the greats, it breaks the rules to do it, share with the people who comment on your post or whose posts you comment on a private message. Now, you also have the idea, well, don't do that on Facebook, do it on Instagram, do it on Snapchat, do it on Twitter, do it on. Okay. You get lost in the mess, and so then the advice will be, well, you only need to pick like 3. And that can work. It will work, actually, if you have the time and the ability and all these other things coming in. So then, if you think about the MLM world, they say, start with the people you know. Reach out to friends, to family. That will work. Absolutely, because if your sister doesn't know, your sister wants to support you, ideally, and will find somebody else who might be interested in what you're doing. Or your best friend, or your colleague, or the list goes on, will want to support you. That will work. Absolutely. But what if your social circle is small? Or because you dealt with a disease, an illness, a stress, a life event that took you offline, took you to ghosting, if you will. What then? Well, join the groups, the first scenario ought to still be available to you. Yes, when people look, they might be like, oh, this person just disappeared for a week, a month, a year, 2 years. Reconnecting. Absolutely. It can work. Not everyone will reconnect, but remember, if they're not interested in reconnecting, if they're not interested in supporting you, then either A, do you still want them in their life? And the answer is no, let them go. Or B, you still like them, just don't talk to them about that topic. By the way, if you are using Facebook, you can choose to share your posts with different levels and degrees of people. It's part of the privacy privacy controls. Alright. So what am I doing? Because right now I don't have that much time. Yes, if I decrease my hours, it will work. For time, money, all of those Facebook ads or Google ads or AdWords or the cost of joining a program or the cost of, or the money that I'm not making by doing this instead. Okay? It's a component. But I did get to the point by taking a job that were at least okay. And again, we can do the financial management and figuring that out. Am I I sure this can work because I've tried these things before? Well, A, there's faith. B, there's planning. Actionable steps, yes. There's finding the support, which we're coming back to because that's the core component of this video, is the support in starting out. So, again, even though I just am repeating myself a bit, how am I starting? Well, I figured out what I want to do. I'm looking at the ways I can get there for the creativity, coming up with the idea with the blue green and the scheduled weeks. Well, I'm already in a couple groups and they're not like regularly posting, supporting type of family groups. They're just groups. So I'm going to ask, what is the process? Number 2, going to find out, if I have a scheduled week where people would check in on a Sunday and check out on a Friday, and have activities they do on Monday and Tuesday and Thursday. It works. So, and there's multiple places where I can share that already, that no, I don't participate them as much as would be ideal, but I've been in there a while, so if somebody looks, they see. So if your thought is, well, I want to offer this course, I don't have the time right now, I don't have the money right now, I don't have the whatever right now, the mindset right now, go ahead if you want and join those groups or make your own. But you don't have to be super active, not at the beginning. Just be there, and if you like a few posts now and again, at least there's some activity of what you've been doing. So that's one of the ways that I'm hoping to use blue-green, since we can't really get rid of it. What about the teaching? I've tried offering courses online before. I did the mastery. I did the offer it here, offer it Facebook, offer it LinkedIn. Can that work? Yes. Absolutely. Am I jaded towards the ideas of focusing on that? No, not at this point. I had gotten there because of being overwhelmed and not feeling like I was supported, and the price and the money that was being spent. But I am in a couple groups, and I am still on LinkedIn, even if I disappear for a while. I may not have the reviews and responses that would be ideal to have. I don't have much money to invest. So, what is my plan of action? Well, I need to get to know people in the community. So, going to the library, asking what's possible, and seeing what time I can spend connecting with people that way. I'm going to be joining, yes, a couple of Facebook groups. Actually, the ones I'm already part of, but I just haven't been connecting with. So having the extra time will allow that. Because I am an adjunct professor, because I have the qualifications, both experience-wise and academically, I'm looking at other places I can create and offer courses. So lifelong learning is a big component there. And I don't really think I'm talking about the exact topics I plan to, but that's okay. I have the ability to, and everyone else does. Yeah, you need to tap into it and hone it, and guess what? I have so far to go. But I can go to places that will the different FNI, Free Networking International. That one was my favorite. Which reminds me, I also want to do the East Tennessee Healers Network and having a networking group, and once a month. We have it in different locations. See, this is what happens when you start going through things, is you do start thinking of other ideas. So, total flipperoo on what this video was on, I suppose. Or not on. Most simply, how do you find the people who will support you? Well, you network. How do you find the places where you can maybe even start getting paid without having to do all of the legwork? You network. Yes, it's going to take creativity. Alright, so maybe there's a challenge. How do you do that when you have the 40-hour job, plus an additional job, plus take care of animals, or an additional job? You're a kid. Animals are like kids. I think kids take more. Kids' poop is less likely to end up on your foot. Yeah, it's a lot less likely. I end up with poop on my foot every day. Well, most days. So, there is that. Alright, so this was a cluster bump. Cluster bump. That was interesting. Yeah, a whole bunch of bumps. It was a cluster bump. Oh, I did move cows. So yeah. Not quite what I planned to talk about, but you go with it sometimes. Actually, just go with it most of the time. And when you can't go with it, you sit and you think and you let things happen until you can go with it.